Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host and keeper of the Hairy Channel, and with me tonight are minions Sora the Sunfish.
Hello.
DrFunctional.
Hello. Salut.
Serenity the Sunfish.
Hello.
And SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
So how was your day, SkepTock?
Oh, it's been a good day. Been a day spent with family. Just been hanging with the kids, the grandkids, and the dogs. It's been a terrific day.
How many dogs?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 up plus 10.
Wow.
10, but only 6 live there normally.
You know, you could have, I think,
dogs.
Weren't you like too short of a sled team?
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, Katie's got a big fenced-in backyard. I mean, she's got a fenced-in, I think it's a fenced-in acre and a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
She bought like 4 plots of land or something out there and just fenced in a huge area for these big dogs to run in. And those kids are well protected. Those dogs are trained to protect them also, by the way.
Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, that's well, I mean, all dogs have a job, whether it's companion.
They're happiest when they have a job, when
they need a job. Their job is to either sit on your lap and give you someone to pay attention to that's not yourself,
right.
Or to flush birds, or to dig holes in fences looking for rodents, whatever, you know. But yeah, people don't understand. Dogs need structure. You're not being mean to them by being the boss and giving them shit to do.
No, they want to earn your respect. That's what dogs really want to do. They want to have an objective, achieve the objective, and have you recognize them for it. That dogs are so simple. It's all they care about.
Yep. It's as if we bred them for that purpose.
Almost. As if they domesticated them from wild animals. But
yeah. Well, have you got anything else before the show starts?
Well, just the assurance that in fact they were not bred from wild animals. They came on the ark, just like all the other animals. Yeah.
There's a picture I saw. It's one of those memes where they show all these animals going 2 by 2, and they show these 2 lions with these big fluffy manes, and it's like small problem with this illustration.
What you got against Adam and Steve?
Yeah, the fabulous Adam and Steve, the fabulous lion. Anyway,
that's cute.
Let's see. So, how was your day, Sora?
Oh, it was very nice. Got to eat a good chunk of the ham that we made yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's very delicious. And then that's it. It's been also hanging out with dogs, except that it was only 2 here. My regular 2.
Let's see. Who's 3 hours ahead of the West Coast? Functional, are you? Oh, what Serenity is. You're minus.
Both are, I think.
You're GMT -5, right?
It's 11:36 where I am.
All right. So I guess we have to pay attention to these things because we're going to be spanning a couple people hitting New Year's. I can't remember. You're +2 from me, aren't you, Functional?
I'm the same as
He's 3.
Yeah, he's same as
Hey.
me.
You're 3?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
same as
he's-
me.
First
Okay.
standard time. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
He and I
have
are in the
to.
same time zone. That's the reason why we give each other shit all the time.
Yeah.
Right, we'll have to make a note when we come up on the East Coast.
I'm
New Year.
+2 from you, Harry.
Well, yeah, I know where you are.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yes.
Hello from
Functional.
the future.
Yes, functional. How was your day / week / 2
feel
weeks? 'Cause I haven't spoken with you for a while.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, that's a good
I have the
sound.
McClellan's 18 year in hand. So, salut.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
It's old enough to vote.
Well, I had a little bit of a tizzy before Christmas where there's flagstones at the back of my building, and we had like 2 feet of snow. So my heel, the inner side of my heel, caught the flagstone. The rest of my foot kept going down, and it twisted base almost on a 90-degree angle. And it.
Why did you do this?
I thought it would be fun. I've never tried it before.
Seemed
Okay.
like a
Sprained
good
my
idea at the
ankle,
time.
and it just
Yeah.
a whole lot of lying down and doing nothing but watching Star Trek for 2 weeks.
The things you'll do to get out of going dancing with Owen.
Oh, I'm never gonna dance again.
Oh, so
Guilty
sorry.
feet have got no rhythm.
Have you ever done the ballroom dancing thing? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in high school,
Yeah.
Oh,
actually.
good Lord, yes.
yeah, I didn't. I've never done ballroom dancing. I've sort of wanted to, but it would be nice to just sort of magically appear and be competent, as opposed to show up and not know what you're doing and just being like the new guy with 2 left feet. Like I imagine that in this fake scenario, I would take lessons secretly and I wouldn't let imaginary girlfriend know, and then I drag her off there and then surprise her with my astounding dancing skill. None of these
Aw.
things are going to happen.
You could just plop her in front of a Showtime movie or something, you know.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing with like
that
group
happens.
anything, like group therapy or group lessons. Like I don't want group. I just can I just give you like like some money and then just teach me how to
Teach
do
me how to
something
not
and then
suck.
teach me how to not suck and then just let me get on with my life, right? You know, whether it's karate or ballroom dancing or whatever. But of course they want you to go to group because they make way more money that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Group therapy. Ugh.
It's
That's-
best to
that's
have
even
it's
better than
best to
regular
have an
therapy.
in,
Yeah.
like knowing somebody who did.
All the other
Ballroom.
crazy people help the therapist solve your problems.
That's right. Now, what do you think, group, about
Oh
Harry's
my
problem?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
It's
let's
gotta be hell.
let's hand out copies of the DSM-4
Right,
and the
see,
DSM-5 and let's see if you can find something in here.
It's like in class. Okay, students, you're marking each other's paper.
Oh, I know. Let's
Everyone
see.
gets an A.
So I
Oh,
don't
no.
believe we've talked to Serenity yet. Serenity,
Yeah,
how was your?
Y'all are starting out the new year on the right foot. Let's just be dark and just morbid and woo. Group
I'm not
therapy.
being.
yeah.
I'm not being
Really?
dark or morbid. I'm
Okay,
not.
sorry. You're depressive. We're going depressive.
No. I just know that I'm never going to. I'm never going to take
Tell
those
us-
dancing
tell us
lessons.
something
Hi,
happened,
Uzi.
Serenity.
Let's see, Uzi, Kiever Dam,
Yeah.
Green Badger, Costin. Let's see, Mike, K. Shull. Okay.
Hey.
James Colley. Wow. Seftis Wolf. I can't say
There you
anything.
go.
Raymond Lewis.
You
Wow.
got there eventually.
Excellent. We've got people watching. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
nothing
You
happened
been
here
dipping into
today.
the sauce a little?
We had our traditional New Year's Eve meal of cocktail shrimp and finger food. And then
Mhm.
tomorrow is the ham. Because it's no longer a high holiday.
So
Well-
you can't just wrap bacon around the shrimp yet.
No, it's no longer it should Hanukkah's over with. So yeah, no, it's no longer a high holiday, and I only obey the kosher shit on high holidays.
Yeah.
So
Moderation in all things, including moderation.
yeah.
Including most especially.
Oh no, my greatest enjoyment. I laughed my ass off at my cousin because she called me complaining because she's married now, so she has to wear a shtetl. For people who don't know what a shtetl is, thank you, functional. And it's basically married women are not allowed to go outside without their hair covered.
Hmm.
But the way the Jews have found a way around this, besides except for has the complete opposite way of what the Muslims have done. The Jews just wear either a hair wrap or they wear a wig that looks exactly like their hair.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so this way they look like everyone else instead of blatantly look like they're just completely separate. So she's like, I don't want to wear a hair wrap, but I don't want a wig. I was like, well, you're the one who signed up and married the Hasidic, so you got to make a choice.
I don't know the way you phrase that, just so they can look like everyone else. I'm like, Kanye? What?
Well, no, I was thinking about more like the
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's a religious loophole. Those are
yeah.
So
the
you
Jews are very
people-
good.
So you
Jews-
people can
you
look like
people.
everyone else.
Well,
yeah,
it's-
and it tends to be the smaller sect of more religious, but not uber religious like the ones with the full wool coats in the middle of summer in New York City. Not that far.
Mhm.
They're not
wool's
that
actually
far.
not that bad this summer if it's real wool. It's actually not that bad. But no, it's just it's very interesting because it's Jews. If you were going to get slightly religious, if you look at it, Jews kind of do want to just be able to blend in and be left alone. And then there's other sects of religion who are like, no, we're going to make it blatantly obvious we're different. So this way you say something or look at us for too long because you're confused, and this way we can act like victims. But anyway, it's
But anyway,
We just want to be your doctors and your lawyers.
and you jewelers, leave us alone. God. So I have 2 kitchens. Eat me. What do you want?
well, in terms of stuff for the show, we don't really have to talk about anything. I have things we can talk about if we don't talk enough just organically, but don't feel like we have to stick with the schedule too closely because it's basically just us hanging out. But that said, it's a bit much. Let's do that. I wanted to show you this because there's going to be there's going to be kind of a sub theme for tonight, which is women in crime.
Yeah.
It just sort of stumbled
Happy.
across this. So let's see.
One thing they beat men at consistently.
Let's see if you can actually hear this and see this.
In the city of Orange, on
Yep.
the lookout for a gang of
Hear
thieves.
it.
5
Yep,
women
we
who
can hear
pulled
it.
off a wild heist, all captured on surveillance video. The women entered the Produce World Market in Orange, and while 3
Nothing to
women
see here.
distracted store employees with lots of questions, 2 others made their way to the very back of the market and slipped into the employees
Look
only
at these
area.
women.
One of them entered the store's office and carried out an 80-pound safe. With another woman's help, they put
That
the
is a
heavy
strong
safe in a
bitch.
shopping cart, covered it with scarves and coats, and pushed it right through the store and out the front door to a waiting car. Inside the safe, more than $9,000. Anyone who may recognize this
I mean,
group of
it's
thieves is urged.
pretty
Yeah,
genius.
yeah. Well, all that weight of the patriarchy has helped her develop good
That's
quads.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean,
this
at least
group of
nobody
5
stole
women,
the
they
getaway
ocean
car.
they ocean 11 a produce store functional. Sorry, go ahead.
At least nobody stole the getaway car. I don't know if
No.
you saw that
Yeah.
story.
That one's funny. That one's hilarious.
You mean you go outside and find that it's up on blocks?
Oh, no. There was a story from Portland where there was crime sprees galore, whatever. And these criminals loaded up their car, and then somebody got in their car and stole their car full of goods.
yeah, because they walked away from it.
Mwah, chef's kiss.
That's
Left it
wonderful.
on, left the keys in it, everything, and just
All
walked away
things
from
cons-
it.
Yep. All things considered, this was it's still crime bad, but this was pretty ingenious.
That's
But it's crime on
hilarious.
crime. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not so bad.
I call it karma, but okay.
They should write a letter to their congressman. Like,
Yeah.
you can't live like this. How can I, an honest thief, perpetrate
and
a crime
CC
when I'm getting stolen from?
Yeah, carbon copy AOC. It's like, I was trying to steal bread for my children.
Yeah. Where's
Yeah.
equity for thieves?
While I do have some just the cojones of these women to do this, like that's not like I can understand if that was a Whole Foods. That's obviously like a middle or low income grocery. Like, really, ladies,
Mm-hmm.
have some backbone and go after the Whole Foods or go after the Erewhon, the one that charges $14 for freaking pasta. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go after ones that actually afford to do it. Not that I'm saying, Susan, that I wish to have thievery going upon, but it's like go after the ones that can afford to lose the money. Or
I
Oh, you're
kind
kind
of
of doing the Sister Soldier thing, aren't you?
I kind of agree with you, Serenity, but on the other hand, places like this tend to have more cash on hand than
true.
your bigger chain stores who really mostly rely on electronic
Which is
purchases.
true. So I understand that too, but it's like
Yeah, it's still it's scummy no matter how you cut it.
yeah, it's like
But did you notice there was a small problem with their security. They have an 80-pound safe that a single woman can lift and put in a shopping cart.
yeah.
Your safe is too small. Your safe is not anchored to the floor the way it's supposed to be. It's like it's not really a safe if you can pick it up and leave with it and then open it at your leisure.
80
And
80
Harry
pounds
sitting
safe.
there,
of that-
victim blaming like the man he is.
No.
Yep.
Let me just say something about a safe. I know something about safes. You learn about them to be a finance officer in the Navy. You learn all about the safes. And to have an 80-pound safe that is that size means that safe was flimsy as hell. That safe was nothing. The safe was
for show.
little more than a metal box.
It was a minor impediment to keep honest people honest.
Exactly.
It's a Walmart safe.
Well said, Harry.
Yeah.
It's a
Very
Walmart
well
safe.
said.
It's something they bought at a Walmart
Right, exactly.
because they were told by
Toys R Us.
somebody.
Yeah, but it's sheet metal, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, like those type of safes, I am not saying to do this, but you literally can just go through the bottom of them because the bottom of them's thinner than the rest of it, and you just take an axe to the bottom of them and get it open. You don't even got to do anything.
Well, if it's bolted to the floor, it's harder to get to the bottom of it because it's covered with floor.
I'm saying this one though. Like this one will take nothing for them to get into.
Tumbling through the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think there is an Ocean's 11 skit about that.
Oh
yeah.
Let's go through the floor.
We'll just go
The
up
safe
through the
should
floor.
be.
That'll
It should be
fine.
safer than the refrigerator that Nancy Pelosi keeps her ice cream in.
That is a
That's all I'm
Viking.
saying.
Vikings have more security than some fucking banks do.
Yeah.
And still a better plot than the latest Ocean's movie with Bullock or
Ocean's
whatever.
8.
Sandra Bullock. Ocean's
Yeah,
8.
Ocean's 8. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't even watch it.
these women were organized. They made a plan. They executed it well. I think that women in crime stand to have a bright future.
They're underrepresented, particularly
Not in space.
High stakes robbery, though.
In space, in orbit, they consist of 100% of the crime.
That's true.
Really,
It's true.
Right now. That we know of.
What crimes were committed in space?
I can answer that question if Functional doesn't remember.
I don't know the specific crime off the top of my head.
It was bank fraud. Basically, logging in, impersonating somebody, and monkeying with their accounts online. It was a sperm
Anne
lover
McClain.
thing from in space.
Astronaut Anne McClain accused by spouse of crime using his bank account while she was in space or something.
No, that was an honest question. I really had not heard of that.
No, seriously, it happened. There was a woman on the ISS who committed a crime. It's the first official crime in space.
Is that the diaper lady or is that not the diaper lady?
No. The diaper lady was on the ground. She drove.
Okay.
She put on her astronaut diaper and got in her astronaut car and then drove like a bunch of hours to get to somebody to do something stupid.
Well, I just wasn't sure if it was the same lady because it was just a series of shit she pulled. And
No.
So that's what I was asking. I was like,
Yeah, she Anne McClain acknowledged that she had accessed the bank account from space, insisting through a lawyer that she was merely shepherding the couple's still intertwined finances.
why would you
And
do
that
that
was
on a NASA
illegal.
computer? Why would you do that on a NASA computer? Why would you do it on a
Can
NASA
you
computer?
imagine? Like, I love that.
It doesn't even say location when
I
the
love
transit
the
stuff
idea.
Yeah. We did a lookup on the IP address and it said space.
You see, first you let them out of the house, then you let them vote, and now they're committing all the crimes
In space.
intergalactically.
Yeah. Well, part of how this happened is I saw a meme, and then I stumbled across in the meme. I always go, well, where did this come from? And then there was a reference to a Twitter account. This wasn't necessarily supposed to be part of the show, but I ran into this Twitter channel called Mugshots, and it's basically often kind of hot women who commit crimes and then end up with their mugshots. Yep. I like this. I can see there's probably a certain group of men who just love the women with the mascara that's crying getting the mugshots. This is just terrible.
Oh God, I love this so much.
Yeah, look at her. Mugshots. Yeah. So she's,
No,
she's
it's
very
mug
upset.
shotties.
Mug
Yeah,
mug
What's
shotties.
shorties? It's shorties. It's shorties.
Why
Shorties.
do you want to
Shorties.
look at pictures of people on one of the worst days of their life?
She doesn't. She's
doesn't look
fine.
that's
Look at
the
her
worst day of her life.
driving while impaired. I don't think the
She looks
impact of it is
fine.
really.
Listen, let me tell
yeah.
you something. That woman is guilty of breathing while impaired at all times. She
Well,
doesn't
what
have
about-
much of a brain.
What about the DUI woman here?
That looks like a model headshot, not somebody
Probably
has a
out-
mug.
it's probably out of it's probably out of Los
Yeah,
Angeles. Or
I'm
something like
swiping
Does,
left.
does
I'm
this
sorry.
blue wall
I'm
make me look
swiping-
fat?
Swiping left on all
that. Does
of
the
them.
bump it make me look fat? Look at that hair
Okay,
in the
yeah.
back.
So this is another swipe left. Another swipe
Yeah,
left. Okay.
Yeah, definitely not
one-
a psycho there.
This one's got that touch of meth. You can always tell when the skin starts to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
and his closed mouth
Cannabis, narcotics, and resin.
concealing
Yeah.
She
She
yeah.
looks like she's
Resin?
still stoned.
the dirty
it's-
chiclets.
But this
It's
just
hot
looks like
resin.
Kaylee Cuoco on a bad day. Armed robbery,
Ooh,
armed robbery
aggravated
with
battery.
a firearm, aggravated battery. She's a keeper.
She
No,
go
that's
back up,
touch
Carrie.
of
No,
meth.
go back up. Go
Ooh.
back. She's got the Karen face of like, and
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
And
Uh-huh.
right there.
Yep.
That is small town Texas amphetamines.
see, but here's the one that started it all. There was this meme. This is actually how I found this thing. So somebody posted this, battery family violence. And I guess one of the guys who might be from Barstool Sports just said would. And then she responded, would you? Yes. This is you. Yes, I would. And he's like, I'll clear my schedule. It's fine. This is how I actually found this thing. But we could find a girlfriend for geodes here. There's lots of things we could do with this channel. But it's all good. It's all good.
oh, she
So,
looks happy.
Ooh,
yeah,
go up-
there's
go
the
up a little
mascara.
bit.
What?
The one before this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
every
yeah.
Love that
single,
one.
every
I
single
love
one,
the hair. She needs to fix those roots though.
Yeah, hot,
gotta fix
yeah,
them roots.
hot mess.
Every single one of these says herpes at least.
Says OnlyFans soon as they get out, at least.
This one actually almost looks happy. Like I finally got caught or something. Like she's contemplating
she's
the face
high as
tattoo
fuck.
she's
Yeah.
going to get when she gets out.
She's high as fuck, though. That's the reason why.
She
Yeah.
thinks
Yeah.
she's getting a passport photo done. That's why.
Well, how about this one? This one
Ooh.
here with the glasses and the I dare you
Dismembered
murder
her
with the use of a
body.
deadly weapon. Her and a man friend murdered a woman, dismembered her body, and put in a 55-gallon barrel to try and hide it. Yeah, I don't think that she should be allowed to watch Breaking Bad anymore on TV.
Yeah.
She looks annoyed more than anything too.
But this one here is actually going to be a story for later on. We'll get back to this. Okay.
Oh, she doesn't
Anyway,
look like
back
she's
to
got
our
one.
regularly scheduled program. Let's see. So Sora,
yes.
and this is for Sora and I guess Serenity. It's a cute animal and it's a rescue. So this is
Hell
here.
yeah. That's a baby mountain lion.
Ah, sorry.
No! You scream at me.
So they
I want you
rescued
to-
a little mountain lion in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Look.
Got a milk mustache.
before it becomes Satan's killing kitty. Hello.
Yeah, so they're going to nurse it back to health so they can release it so then it can, like, I don't know, try to eat some children and they'll go down and hunt it. And it's like,
Okay.
It's the circle of life.
Oh, poor little
are mountain
baby.
lions endangered?
No, I highly doubt that.
Should we really be nursing the killing machines back to life? I mean, I know he's adorable, but
Well, the thing is like, they're on the list as least concern,
yeah,
so they're fine.
he is adorable, but still.
Well, the thing is like if you move them from California to like somewhere like my state, where
Mhm.
there's plenty of places for them to hide, they're fine. So if they actually move him to him or her, we're not going to say which gender they are. If you move them to someplace where it's less populated or something like that, or places they can actually like hunt and hide, it'll be fine and it'll never attack a human. But it's one of those, it's like if they insist on just releasing it back in California, it will try to eat a person. I guarantee you it'll try to eat a person.
Yeah, especially it's probably going to, bite one of its caretakers, get a taste for human flesh, then grow big and strong, come back.
And nothing of value was lost.
Yeah. Okay, so enough of that. How about this?
Now with the story behind the unusual sight in Maine, spinning in a river.
Let's get
Hey there,
forward
TJ.
I've seen that kind of
Great
stuff
Pyramids
before.
of Giza. We have found
You
our
seen
own
this?
8th wonder of the world right here in Maine.
Oh my God!
Robin, I give
Seriously?
you ice. I know what you're thinking.
This is a thing that happens. These huge round discs of ice will form in certain types of water formations, and they sort of slowly rotate. Now, there's people who go out with chainsaws and trolling motors and make them from scratch, but they occur organically too.
Yep.
Appear all the
they-
time.
Now, supposedly they're relatively uncommon, but maybe not if you live near a place where they happen.
Well, if it gets cold enough down here, the Ohio River, where some of the like larger creeks meet up with it, will cause those to happen. So I've seen them a couple times.
Oh,
That's a
sweet.
good sized one, but it's one of those things where it's like, I understand why it can be really weird to like people who aren't used to seeing it, especially city people. But yeah, I remember seeing those and even smaller versions in like where creeks would meet up with lakes and stuff like that. And they would do
exactly.
that. So it's like, it's really cool. Like I love them. They're awesome. But
Especially the ones that are really thick and really frozen that you can like jump on.
oh yeah, those ones are fun. You just gotta make sure you don't ice skate off the edge if you ice skate on them. So you gotta be careful. But yeah, no.
Well, I wouldn't ice skate them.
Well, we usually do because those things will happen. and
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
gotta,
But
like,
they're
"Whee!"
just naturally well, some of them are naturally forming ice flows.
I love it captivating the country. The only people it's captivating are the city folk who ain't ever seen it.
Wow.
These,
It is
ABCs,
pretty cool. That's really
Well, yeah.
impressive.
It is.
Cool, but
The
there's YouTube
roundness of it
videos
is
all over.
cool. The way that it forms,
Yes.
basically, because of the rotation, any small little nubby, not quite round bits tend to get broken off, and it reforms in a nice circle.
You can see where it broke in a
it's-
couple
it's
spots.
constantly correcting to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's kind of cool. It's the fact that it rotates and that it's so circular.
And I think they can only happen either A, human intervention, or B, like there has to be a perfect top current to the area in order for that to be able to get that motion going. Like it can't be one of those things where like the undercurrent doesn't really affect it because it doesn't get that low. So you kind of have to like there has to be a perfect storm, as it were, for it to happen. Those are the kind of one. That's how the ones around here kind of happen. Is there's a piece of chunk and then it breaks loose.
Looks more
naturally.
like snow than
Yeah, and then you can kind of, if they're thick enough, you can ice skate on them. Because I've done that a few times.
Yeah, I don't really think of myself as a city person because I'm not really a city person, but I'm not country either. So
You're suburbs.
To me, this is pretty cool. We don't have enough water in California to have these. That's
never mind ice. Yeah.
It's like
Ice discs form on the outer bends of a river where the accelerating water creates a force called rotational shear, which breaks off a chunk of ice and twists it around. As the disc rotates, it grinds against surrounding ice, smoothing into a circle. A relatively uncommon phenomenon. One of the earliest recordings is of a slowly revolving disc spotted on the Miamis River and reported in an 1895 edition of Scientific America.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
That's
Well,
never
there's-
heard of
so cool.
I had never
I
heard of
wonder. Oh, sorry.
It is
Go
now
ahead.
officially 12 a.m. on the East Coast.
Yay!
Happy New
Happy
Year,
New Year.
East
Happy New
Coast.
Year.
Happy New Year, East Coast. You made
All
it.
right. You did
coming
it. You
for you, bitches.
survived.
It's
You
coming
survived
for you.
2022, one of the most shit years ever.
I agree.
Yeah, 2022 was not good.
It was not
mine wasn't too
really
bad.
good in much of any way.
Yeah,
Nationally
2023 is going to be way better. Just saying.
So,
Yeah.
Here's knocking on wood.
Yeah, that's at least what I have to tell myself.
White
it's going to
white
be
pill
the calm
yourselves.
before the storm.
White
You
pill
know-
yourselves. White pill
You know
yourselves.
what's not going to be around in 2022?
What?
Pope Benedict the 16th
Yep.
and Barbara Walters.
Emperor Palpatine.
Neither of these
Everyone-
things will be around in 2026 because we had a couple high-profile deaths today.
Yep. They got their 2022 got its final kicks in.
So
Yeah.
this
Like, we're
is why
taking
I'm
'em.
worried. I'm worried about 2023. How bad is it going to be when these guys decide to just peace out before the start?
So the Pope and Barbara Walters died in a murder suicide.
Yeah, No, they both skated off the edge of an ice disc and then
Whee!
drowned.
Oh, it,
Yeah.
That cold water gets send you right into
the
shock.
edge, off the edge.
And
of
were
the boat.
attacked by a mountain lion.
it didn't involve a door handle and a belt.
No.
Woohoo!
And some single ply toilet tissue of incredible strength.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a Catholic, so it's kind of not any of my business for the most part what happens with Pope Benedict. But that whole thing about the Pope retiring and then just wandering around, it'd be like if Donald Trump was just wandering around the White House in his bathrobe. Still.
Hey, hear the fireworks exploding in the background. Whee!
Nice.
Well, technically,
Well,
Izuku,
I hope they're
because
fireworks.
they died before the year change. Now the death comes in 3 counters, resets. So it never
good.
so death never got its third. So everyone be worried.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Well, and then there was Barbara Walters, which I don't know.
Baba Wawas.
Yeah. Well, so you know about Baba Wawa.
Baba Wawas, yeah. There was okay. Most of you will probably have no idea what this is. Functional or Sora May, and maybe people in chat. But there was a cartoon that used to play on old Disney Channel all the time, and it was an animated movie about the Animal Olympics. And they had a sheep on there called Baba Wawas. It was that entire meme was like that joke before there was memes. But yeah, no, it was about the Animal Olympics.
Okay,
No one
I
knows
have
what
to
the
check.
fuck I'm talking about.
I have to check Discord because I can't remember if I sent the link to Skep and Prospero because I think it predates you folks. But Gilda Radner on the original couple
Yes.
seasons of Saturday Night Live used to do a Barbara Walters impersonation.
Yep.
Or not so much an impersonation as an exaggeration.
Yeah, her skits are on
But it was
YouTube.
great.
Well, there was one with her talking to Madeline Kahn, and each of them was screwing up some consonants.
Yeah.
That was great. That was a perfect little who's on first kind of thing that they were doing.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
But as I understand it, Barbara Walters did meet Gilda Radner, and initially she admits she was kind of annoyed by it, but she moved past that pretty quickly, and they were friendly. Like, you know, she gave her a big hug, and it was fine. And I didn't get the impression that she was lying about it to, you know, pretending to be a good person.
Well, the thing is, like, Barbara Walters, for the good portion of her career, was so kind of like a high up there.
Yeah.
Like, why would she lie about it? She has no reason to.
Well, the only thing that the media ever reported was that Barbara Walters was dismayed, you know, and said, "Hey, I had a speech impediment that pissed me off." I remember the interview that she gave where she talked about that, and the fact that she did move on. I know she made a couple comments later on that made me think, "Oh, that's kind of classy," you know. That she knew Gilda Radner and they were friendly at least. And but the press never covered that. They just covered the fact that you know, at one point she, you know, had a public reaction to it.
Well, Gilda, when Barbara Walters moved over, I can't remember where she moved from, but she moved over to NBC. When she moved over to NBC, she brought some stylist and hair people with her.
From ABC.
From ABC to NBC. Right. And those are the people that actually helped style Gilda Radner's hair and tell her how to sit and present herself and how to basically improve the impersonation. Yeah. So she had inside help from Barbara Walters' stylist and hairdresser.
Wow.
Which, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
I didn't think about that.
Which is very interesting because I have no problem with Barbara Walters. I have no problem with her interview style, but apparently there are some celebs who are now coming out talking about, they were doing this before she died, but old enough to not do anything. She was probably ill or getting very tired toward the end, but they are like, were like, I didn't like her interview style. She made me feel small. And it's like, yes, that's how you get the answers, bitch. Like, what did you expect? If your management team let you go into an interview with Barbara Walters, your management team did not give a fuck about you.
No. Well, Barbara Walters is what we used to call a journalist.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, well, Brooke Shields was complaining about it. Drew Barrymore complained about it. And I'm like, I mean, you girls could have not done stupid shit. Like, I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, you
And
shouldn't
not agree
just
to the
assume
interview.
that it was a publicity stunt and that the press was all in on it with
Yeah.
you. I do, when I think of journalists sort of from that generation, what was her name? The one that was covered the Nixon White House all those years.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
It was on 60 Minutes for quite a while. I knew it a moment ago, and now I'm spacing
Yeah,
out.
it's one of those, your brain goes, bloop.
But there were a handful of women
Helen
journalists.
Thomas?
No.
Well, I'm doing the Google.
No,
Leslie Stahl?
I'm trying to remember. But anyway, there were a handful of female journalists that really were trailblazers in a pretty much male-dominated profession. Dorothy Kilgallen, I've mentioned a few times. But she was mostly doing print type stuff. But in terms of television, Barbara Walters
talking
was
about Diane Sawyer. Or
yeah,
Leslie
Diane
Stahl?
Sawyer. Diane
Really?
Sawyer was top notch.
Yeah.
And Barbara Walters did a lot of good work. I kind of have a little bit more respect for Diane Sawyer than Barbara Walters, but hey, being the Haydn to her Mozart is still not such a bad thing.
No, not.
I mean,
No.
the fact that they got to where they
Not a
were
bad
and they were
thing for
still
either one.
somewhat classy about stuff, I
Yeah.
have respect, because I don't like anybody who like, well, I had to do. It's like, no, you didn't. There's a way to do it and still have decorum and respect. You didn't. You chose not to because you chose to make it easier. Don't complain to me because you let your morals slip.
But
Bite me.
both those women were thoughtful interviewers.
Yeah,
In my
you could see
opinion.
them think about it when they were interviewing people.
Well, yeah, but I mean the questions that they asked for, evidence that they were thoughtful, that they were reacting to what their subject was saying, and they elicited new information. That's the great thing that journalists can do and should do at their best. They do this is to elicit new information about something or someone or some event, and put it in digestible bits and sell it to us. That's what the news business is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be packaged narrative bits with occasional chunks of news. Anyway, off my box. Sorry.
Now with 10% extra news. But it's but it is a shame. We have lost an awful lot of people this year.
Yeah.
Again, 2022 kind of sucks.
I mean, well, the
Fuck
thing is, like,
2022. Seriously, fuck 2022.
we
I'm
lose
out.
people every year. It's one of those things, like, it just always feels like it's worse depending if the year feels bad to us or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, this doesn't feel any different for the amount of people we lost, because a lot of these people were really old. She was 93. It's
She was.
like if she was in her 30s, yeah, I'd be right there with you going, what the fuck, man?
No, 93 is a good run, but I'm not the only person who has been annoyed by this. In New York, they had a Good Riddance Day on the 29th. Did you? What? Good Riddance Day. New Yorkers
Oh, okay.
trashed
Not
the
that
worst
Good Riddance Day. Okay,
of
I got you.
2022. So essentially, they did this little performative thing where people would write down
Something bad.
something bad and then run through, and everybody would clap as they would just sort of trash this thing.
I'm sorry, I laughed at the air horn, not at
Yeah.
not at the art.
Oh, I live across the street from a big public park.
I'm sure. It was funny, the timing.
Yeah.
It's fine. So are you able to hear that?
2023 after
Yeah.
shredding, trashing and bashing 2022. For the people here, this year has been one to forget. They lined up to
Yeah.
write down all the
Sucks.
bad things they wanted to say good riddance
Bad
to in
things.
2022. They range from poverty to single
Yeah, this should be the Chinese year of the sunfish. Seriously, that's how much this year sucks.
use plastics. A moment of catharsis and an opportunity to look forward.
So in 2023, I'm trying to get rid of a lot of doubt that I had in 2022. I just want to enjoy life more.
Oh, good. Another woman with extra confidence. Okay, sorry. I didn't say that part out loud.
All right, sassafras, pull it back. Because the year of the tiger is always not good years. They create the strongest, is what the Chinese believe, because it's Chinese New Year stuff. Year of the rabbit, which is what we're going into, is supposed to be a pretty good year.
Okay. So this guy's got a Carhartt.
Folks.
I love Chinese New Year stuff. I know some of it's I honestly just like to believe in good stuff, but that's supposedly their own belief system, is that year of the tiger. People who are born in the year of the tiger, because the year is not a good one, are always made stronger. So being born into the year that is a big deal, but that also means the year's bad. Rabbit's not too bad usually. Dragon's not too bad. Snake, which is the one that comes in 2 years, that's when there's going to be another bad year, and that's 2025.
Oh, good.
Hey, this is science.
It's my
everybody.
animal.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Snack.
Astrology. It's
I'm
science.
A snacky snack.
I like my astrology. I like it.
Yep.
Snack.
It's like
All right. So let's see. So I thought maybe a relatively painless way we could review the year, the stuff that's happened, is to look at the 2022 year in cartoons.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I like this one. Total recount. Oh wait, I need to make this
Make it a little bit
smaller. This
smaller.
is not so good. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties. Let's change the crop.
Bad Harry. Bad Harry.
There we go. That's way better. Okay.
Are you doing that on your virtual camera?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so we've got that. And then we've got the COVID pandemic thing. I like that one. Is it over?
Well, considering the news coming out of China.
Well, let's see. How about this one? We're just not feeling very secure over here. So there's your whole Russia-Ukraine thing. There's Boris Johnson on his way out. Tories keep calm. I mean, a lot of shit's happened. I actually, all kidding aside, I think this is a useful reminder. I like this one. Ukraine and Taiwan hiding from the dragons. Yeah.
What dragon and bear?
When it doesn't kill you, mutates and tries again. And of course, they're making it into a January 6th thing.
Yeah, of course they are.
Crisis diplomacy. You know, this is pretty good. I like that. Beijing Olympics thing with Putin and Winnie the Pooh dancing.
Very nice.
Yep. Little nuclear bomb joke, gas joke. Let's see. Yeah, more Zelensky sort of stuff. Energy in the EU. You know, so cartoons have been there all. I like this one, Lowering the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, really. That one's good.
With little room for the pipes to keep flowing. Yeah, it's nice.
Yep. Perfect.
What do you think of this one?
That one I think is very. It's like we don't like the fact that there's so much going on. So we're going to threaten one that's trying to get in because they're trying to get in, and then we're going to act surprised when all the other ones are like, you know what? Maybe NATO's not a bad thing.
Yeah, just leave your strumming there, and you can join us for wine coolers and snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, the meltdown on Twitter when he got
the whole Twitter
was
thing.
hilarious. Oh my god.
Mass shootings, gas prices, January 6 hearings, which are of course a complete nothing burger.
The Supreme Court, which is complete bullshit thing.
Yeah.
Make way for the young.
Hi, I'm Olaf from Germany, and I'm addicted to Russian gas. Hi, Olaf.
Hi, Olaf.
Hi, Olaf.
Yeah.
Ooh, big old boot.
Oh, this
good
is a good
times.
one.
Nord Stream, I like this one.
Yep.
So a lot of shit's happened in the last year. It has been a busy year, and I know they're always busy, but it sure feels like 2022 has been just like, holy crap.
They're really like trying to be overly ambitious, packing everything in 1 year.
Yep. Money.
Oh God, the FIFA.
Twitter.
Yeah.
But anyway, you get the general idea. Let's see. Oh, it's just my phone. Okay. So that was a thing. So what were your favorite stories of the year? Is there anything that really stands out as like, I don't know, not necessarily your favorite, but something really important. Is there something that we've forgotten about that I haven't mentioned so far?
Britain has a new king.
Yes.
That's an important story. People don't realize how important that is.
Yeah. He could cause a lot of damage if he sucks.
Yes.
He probably will, is my guess.
Yeah. His job is basically just not to destroy everything.
Which,
Exactly.
considering Charles, is a pretty
Yeah.
good chance he will.
Yeah. He's not really a font of good judgment.
No, he's not.
No.
He's not at all.
Camilla is smarter, though.
I
believe she's actually smarter than he is.
She's pretty cunning, I think.
She's very cunning. I will agree with that one.
Cunning and commonsensical is what I was trying to say.
Well, yeah, but common sense would be not fucking the newly married king, newly married prince with his young bride who was pregnant on the way. That would have been common sense not to do.
That attraction was years in the making.
Yeah, but it's called put in your pants and just chill out for 5 seconds.
Now, the royals seem to have a real problem with that a lot of the time.
Yeah, they don't think. I'm with you, Serenity. I'm right with you as far as marital fidelity and all that stuff. But that shouldn't have happened. But they don't think that way. They really
I know.
don't.
Still gonna judge them, but I know.
Okay.
But I think what else? There's been some good stuff. I feel like there's been some good stuff.
Like what?
Well, I mean, I like the fact that I loved watching the meltdown over the Twitter buyout. That was fun.
Yes.
Watching Trump get reinstated. No matter how you feel about him, it was funny watching people going, "Sweet Jesus, this is the end of the world," and then he did nothing on Twitter.
He has his own social media platform. He's not, itching for an outlet to say stuff.
Yeah, no, I still think if his social media manager was smart, they would link Truth Social to Twitter. So this way, when he posted on Truth Social, it would post to Twitter. But that's neither here nor there, and they're probably not going to do that. I love watching I feel bad for the people who got taken by the Paul brothers and their stupid scams that they've been doing. But I love the fact that it's a lovely YouTuber by the name of Poppyzilla called their asses out with evidence and everything. Like he was a true journalist, called their asses out. Oh, it's beautiful.
Journalism in 2022 in this economy.
Poppyzilla is very good at what he does. He actually doesn't take ads either. He only takes Patreon and he doesn't take sponsorships, but he only takes Patreon stuff. And that's only recently. He only started that in December, and he'll add revenue off YouTube videos. So I respect his ass a little bit more.
Well, there are fewer conflicts of interest there.
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I like the fact that people. I don't like how it came about, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like I like the realization that hey, maybe relying entirely on solar or wind or hydro, if it's not like a dam setup, isn't entirely the best, considering we're getting closer and closer to 9 billion fucking people on the planet. Maybe still find ways to make the old ways cleaner and work with them so this way you can slowly, keyword slowly, transfer to the new stuff. I also like the fact that we're getting closer to fission reactors. That's fucking awesome to me.
We have a little bit of nuclear stuff at the end of the show.
Yeah, I love nuclear stuff too. Like
I have one that I think you're really gonna like.
Well, aren't we getting closer to later? Are we getting closer to Gen 5 or Gen 6 reactors? That can do more?
Well, Gen 4 is sort of what we're working our way up to. And
I remember,
but I've got a really good fusion story, and I don't usually talk about fusion stuff because I think most of it's stupid. But I've got a really good one.
I like
especially the Dragon Ball Z fusion.
Yeah. I like the fact that the Artemis stuff is getting set up, so this way we can start possibly doing some stuff with the moon and helium-3.
Yeah. I can't wait for the first woman to commit a crime from the moon.
Hey man, go with it. It's probably gonna be a murder-suicide.
Sorry.
Just like the Pope.
Yeah. But
I just want to live long enough to see us
astronauts
get to the point where space travel is just like humdrum.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's cute.
I'm hoping.
Why manslaughter? Hey, we could work with that.
I'm hoping 2023
Arson? No.
brings us closer to. And I understand it's a pipe dream. It's probably never going to happen. But I hope it brings us closer to FTL. I kind of want that to happen because I
Hey,
I think Mars would be a good. I don't think we should terraform Mars, but I think Mars would be a good like hub to then jump out to other stuff from. But that's me. But I would like the astronauts to not be 90 years older by the time they get to Mars.
So yeah, space news is one of one of my favorite things from this this year too.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of great space news.
I'm trying to put white pill stuff out there, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I mean the web has been if they're going to do that whole person of the year thing, forget the Mylar sheet where you can see your picture in the front of the magazine. Screw that, and forget Zelensky. Don't care.
Yeah, fuck Zelensky.
Sorry, it's just not my cause of the day or of the year even. Just show a picture of the Webb telescope. That's man of the year for me. Okay,
and the team that put that whole thing together, like, oh my god.
Oh, because they could have just as easily spent $10 billion and failed.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was a very real chance that thing would not work.
And the fact that the web is
so many things that could have gone wrong. If this was a Jerry Bruckheimer movie, it would have been over like decades ago.
We'd have to get like James Earl Jones
Willis,
with a roll of
James
duct tape,
Jones,
strap him to a Titan rocket, and then
and Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's the other space thing is the fact that we know that if we launch a satellite at a meteor, we can change its course. The thing that happened.
Oh, the density experiment. Yeah.
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that. That was
so
cool. I was like,
Serenity, since you're talking here, you, I think, posted this, the January 6th committee drops Trump subpoena. I think anybody who's objective knew this was coming, but weren't you surprised it happened so fast?
I was not surprised how quiet it was, but yes, like how quickly they went, never mind.
Yeah.
It's like pussies.
A bunch of us aren't going to be here in a few days anyway, so.
Oh, fuck it.
Well, one wasn't like the two Republicans. She got voted out. The other
Miss
guy,
Piggy and the other guy.
Isn't his seat completely gone? Like, didn't they like reform and his seat's just like gone?
I don't know.
For his
I don't
state?
remember.
It was something weird, but it's just like it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, of course they were going to drop it because there was no stance for it. It was all show. It was all bullshit. Everybody knew it was bullshit except for like the idiots on Twitter who were like, oh my God, Elon Musk allowed his red pill buddies back on Twitter. It's like, shut the fuck up. Elon is not a Republican or red pill. Good Lord, people.
No.
He's a liberal, just like Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan is
is
a textbook liberal. Like, stop it.
Mm-hmm. And yet we keep getting called fucking far right.
I know. It's like
QAnon. It's like, dude, what?
You're gonna make everybody far right because you keep calling it's like there's a cartoon that shows up on Tumblr a lot where it's a group of people like where it's one person is yellow and they're standing on a line and then there's one side that's blue, one side that's red. It doesn't associate like Democrat or Republican or anything like that, but it's like it talks about the person going, well, I want to hear what both sides, and the blue side just is like, you're on their side and pushes them, and then the person on the red side is just helping him up. And they go, you're evil. And it's just like, that's basically what's going to happen. It's like, you're just going to make everybody go to the other side because you act like assholes.
Yeah, I call it the chunky yogurt effect.
Yeah, or self-fulfilling prophecy. I call it self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, this is one of those things which I think is sort of mimetic. This idea that there's that there are two sides to things.
Yeah.
You notice how things often get framed as two sides.
Yeah.
When in reality, most of the interesting questions have more sides than two.
There's a word for that, Harry. Nothing has this thing except for gender, which somehow has a spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Well, but it isn't really a spectrum, because then you're basically saying that the solution is somewhere between two extremes. Lots of interesting things exist in more than two states. That's all I'm trying to get at. I think that people, when we've been conditioned by the news and by society to think of things as if they exist in sort of a spectrum along a line. There's only two dimensions.
Yeah.
When in reality, most interesting conversation topics have way more basis vectors, basically, to look at than just the one.
From all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, it's the idea that one side is good and one side is evil. It's like, no, if it involves a thing.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, it's the thing of like, if it involves a thing like money, intelligence, any of that kind of stuff. If it involves a thing, the thing is neutral. What you do with the thing is what makes it either air quotes good or air quotes bad. Like, so whenever anybody tries to act like money is evil, no, it's what the person with the money does with it that matters. Actions, whether it's evil. The actions make the choice of like what it is. It's like I still think the January 6th committee, if it was a neutral thing, just investigating stuff, I would have been 100% for it. And if I thought for 2 seconds they were actually as close to neutral as human beings can get, I would have been fine with it. But it was very blatantly, obviously bullshit.
I mean, the entire because I mean, from the outset, the entire premise of the January 6th committee was on itself a biased act. Yeah. And if there was a police investigation, like they wanted to look into some of the acts and evidence of what the people they arrested did, I would have no problem with that. That seems a little bit more fair and what should have taken place. But no, they wanted to make it into political theater, and now they're running with their tail tucked between their legs.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably more of a Skep question, but I know that people can create grand juries for political reasons. But it seems like most of the grand juries that I've seen convened, and they get convened for all sorts of different reasons, right? Yep. That's about as close as we get to an impartial group of people working on figuring something out in modern times. I mean, for non-technical things. The grand jury system seems to be generally pretty good.
It's actually is functions amazingly well.
Yeah.
As a kind of leavening force to actually get at what is actually going on here.
Yeah, I have a friend who, friend and former business associate who, his father was a retired lawyer and was on a grand jury. And one of the things that they did was just look into the water quality of the water system in the area that they lived in. Mm-hmm. They convened a grand jury, and all they did was gather a bunch of evidence with their subpoena power and look at, is the water system in our area well run? No pun intended. And that was just one of the things they do. They have these grand juries all the freaking time. And it's probably a really great way to take advantage of the expertise of retired people, to bring them in, people who can really be objective, to take a look at whatever the issue is. And it doesn't have to be criminal.
No, people like me, you could bring me in. I can be...
Yep. Put your ass to work.
I can be helpful in a variety of areas.
Because you're not tired enough as is.
No, I'm not. I'm not tired enough working on the fucking farm all day.
Exactly.
I got him working in the fields.
Well, I was kind of hoping, excuse me, that you wouldn't tell me I was looking at the jury system with rose-colored glasses, because everything I've seen has been pretty positive with grand juries.
I quite agree. That's one of the strengths that there are. We do have strengths in both our civil and criminal procedure. That's contained in the law, and in the grand jury system is a great. Its focus is always on discovery. And discoverable things turn into subpoenas, and sometimes they turn into indictments or lawsuits. Actions against somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a big subject, though. I mean, you can talk about it forever.
Well, maybe when we get Prospero back on, we can talk to her about this. But
absolutely.
Moving on to the next thing, because we're actually weirdly on schedule tonight. I don't know how I managed to do this.
You're a magician.
So this caught my attention. I don't know why. European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili, I believe that is, has been arrested.
Actually arrest her
as part of a corruption investigation. Now,
this is to get at Cutter,
Yeah.
That's
so. Looking at a little bit about what happened. So essentially, there are a whole bunch of vice presidents of the EU, and so they have like a ton of them. It's like a company in a sense. You've got like the VP of this and the VP of that. So it's not that big a deal that she's a VP, but she's one of the VPs. And one of her positions was on a committee involving human rights. Well, it turns out that Qatar may have given her her and her associates a lot of money. And that didn't go over particularly well with the people in the EU. So they're actually going after her for corruption. Belgian prosecutors charge European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili and 3 others with corruption on Sunday in a major investigation into an alleged illicit influence campaign by Qatar. Had any of you heard of this before I brought it up today?
No.
Yes. I had read that this was going on. Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious because I didn't get the impression that this was widely known because I just stumbled across this. And
well,
that's
because
why
I know about it does not mean it's widely known at all.
Yeah. So Kaili, a Greek MEP, was arrested on Friday as part of a corruption probe by Belgian authorities into suspected illicit lobbying by the Persian Gulf country, the host of the ongoing World Cup football tournament. It is suspected that third parties in political and/or strategic positions within the European Parliament were paid large sums of money or offered substantial gifts to influence Parliament's decisions. I've seen sources that say that she got around 600,000 euros.
Yes,
which is not an insignificant amount of money.
No, it's not. The thing of it is, listen, this group of vice presidents is the most expensive bunch of whores on the planet. Every single one of these assholes would have taken these payments themselves if they'd been offered to them. They're pissed off that they didn't get this good deal and that she's earning way out of line with anything they have been offered because Qatar is just full of cash right now. So, they're unhappy at her prosperity, but don't think they aren't just every bit as corrupt as she is. And she's just as corrupt as they are too, by the way.
Yeah. So
it's a parliament of whores.
Well, Greece has asked Panama, which is famous for its involvement in sort of loose handling of money, to figure out, hey, by the way, did any dirty money go slipping through your greasy Panamanian hands?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
To go to this woman and her partner and her family and her friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Oops. So like I said, women in crime, there's a real theme here. It's nice to see that women are really catching up on corruption.
What does her mugshot look like? If we got a mugshot on MEP Kaili?
No, I don't think we have a mugshot on her.
I don't think that was her. I don't think that's it.
I don't think that's her mugshot.
No, probably not her mugshot.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to damn, she's actually doing pretty well for a politician.
Yeah.
How come we don't have politicians like that, Skep?
I don't know, but that's the swipe.
It's a European thing. They
I guess.
People.
Yeah, that's
it's all the cheese and smoking. Keeps them slim.
I don't know. Carrie Lake. What's her name? Hawaii chick.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so women, you guys are really doing a great job. You're closing the gap on killing your own family type crimes. Just really starting to come into your own. And you guys should just pat yourselves on the back because you're picking up all of our bad habits. This is pretty awesome.
Jesus Christ. Hey, Panama, could you check?
Okay, so I have another thing here on the schedule, which I was thinking of. Let's go to Sora.
Yes.
Is there anything that you thought was going to happen in 2022? Did you have any predictions that turned out to just be wrong?
No predictions per se, but something that turned into a positive was I wasn't expecting the whole Johnny Depp trial that happened in the States to come out positively for him.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you may feel that he wasn't awarded enough and that it should have been, a worse outcome for Amber Heard, etc. The fact that he technically won, I guess you could say, is amazing. That's
Mhm.
pretty cool. But that's it. Honestly, had besides that, that's the only thing that was keeping
Well, I
my
hear she
attention
was.
this year.
Wasn't she arrested for shitting in the streets of like Spain or something? I don't think she's doing so hot.
She turned into a Gerard Depardieu. Sorry.
I think she's there with her kid. I don't think she's doing anything too bad. I don't know. I don't follow her. She's not interested enough for me. She ran away.
Was
Fine.
the Rittenhouse ruling also this year, or was that last
that
year?
was 2021.
That was 2021.
Yeah, that was the year of Smittenhouse and Chauvin.
Don't people realize how many black people Rittenhouse killed? How many hundreds of black people he killed?
Yeah, well, he also disarmed that one guy.
Yes.
Partially disarmed.
Partially disarmed.
Yeah, what else was like a big surprise? Did anything really surprise you, Serenity? Or were you wrong about anything? Did you predict something was terrible was going to happen and it didn't?
She might be with the doggy still.
Oh, she may be. Okay, functional surprises.
I don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Well, I think I might have the same one as Skep, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm actually surprised that optimism kept the economy from crashing harder than it did. I was kind of expecting things to get worse. There's still time in 2023, but we did not do as badly as I was afraid we were going to.
It's a soft landing. It's going to be a soft landing. You really will.
Yeah,
You by the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, let's just hope that it ends up being that, continuing to be that way.
It will be for a while.
Okay.
The change in valuation though of consumables and durables, I believe, is permanent. I think that value to our currency is permanently lost.
Of course.
It back. Essentially have to improve our retained earnings is what you would do in a business.
Once we start asteroid mining, we can back our currency in tantalum. It'll be fine.
Unobtainium.
So as I was looking at New Year's type stories, I stumbled across this. Ghana warns against alarmist New Year's prophecies. Well,
good. I was wondering what Ghana was thinking about the new year.
Well, it seems to be that there's a tradition in Ghana that some pastors at the end of the year will hold services, and if the Lord moves them, they will make predictions. And in the past,
Ghana, Jim.
They have said some things that the government didn't like because it got people really worked up for no particularly good reason. So the government, and this is a little unsettling to me, has decided they're going to warn pastors and people not to step too out of line with their predictions.
Is this the eat the poo-poo guy?
It's the same general part of the world, but yeah, so the government's actually monitoring and threatening people, saying, you cannot make certain types of predictions that cause public unrest. And as an American, the idea of a government telling pastors what they can and cannot say seems really uncomfortable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand it's a public order kind of thing, but God, you can justify just about anything with a public order claim, can't you?
Joe Biden thinks so.
Yeah. They need a libertarian party, Skep, in Ghana. You should go and help them.
Yeah, Ghana. What a hole.
Well, you know a lot more about Africa than most libertarians do.
Maybe so, but that's not really a high bar. Ghana is a particularly disgusting place. I mean, there's just nothing good about it.
Aren't they socially really? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they're just butted up there with Benin and Ivory Coast and all that crap. It's just gangs and raiding tribes and people hating other people and people killing other people. It's a mess.
It is a mess.
Look at all the people.
So I guess maybe in the big scheme of things, the fact that they're leaning on their churches is the least of their problems.
Absolutely right. Yeah, they have a huge political issues, and the insane fundamentalist Islamic raiders. Those guys that need to be suppressed permanently.
Okay.
It's no good to anybody.
All right. We're 18 and a half minutes from your midnight Skep. Okay. Let's see. That's one thing is you can't toast. Does it actually bother you being completely sober on traditional drinking days like today? I'm
No.
guessing probably not. You're probably
Not at all.
Don't
Not
even
at
think
all.
about it, right?
Well, no, I think about it, but I think usually what I think is, how happy I am not to be drinking. I mean, I'm one of those alcoholics who is truly happy in recovery and truly is disgusted by even the notion of putting alcohol in my body ever again. Honest to Pete, it is physically nauseating to me to smell it. It's that hardcore a reversal in me, and I used to really enjoy it. There were a lot of aspects of it. I know a lot about wine. Yeah, a lot of alcoholics in recovery know a lot about wine.
Yeah. Well, wine is how you get to be a classy drunk that society won't think less of you, right?
Why are
It's
we
like,
worried
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, why are we worried about the Kahanians are thinking?
Oh, welcome back.
The Ghanaians, that's what they call themselves.
Well, it's
okay.
it's sort of New Year's news. The Ghanaians or Gahanians, whatever they are, the Shemps.
There you
They
Not
they
gonna work here no more.
they have a tradition of their preachers, their evangelical preachers, commonly making predictions, and a lot of times they end up being ridiculous things that lead to public unrest. So the government there has been leaning on them to cut it out. And as an American, I find this to be a very unsettling kind of thing. It's like religious people have the right to say stupid things. That's like literally in our Constitution.
We take the First Amendment for granted. Britain, Canada, Australia, those are modern places. They don't have the First Amendment. They don't have the right of free speech. They have the right to speak in a way the government permits.
Yeah.
But you know what we have that you don't?
What's
yet?
that?
The notwithstanding clause
is infinite diversity, Mr. Skep.
Yeah, you
which
have
is
high
which is literally the best thing you can strive for.
Snow's all white.
Yeah.
Where's
Oppressive.
the black snow?
In Toronto.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been to Denver in the winter, you'll see what brown snow is all about. God, miserable.
No.
So speaking of misery,
about March.
I thought we're not going to go through all of these because we don't need to do a whole listicle, but new California laws you need to know in 2023. So jaywalking is sort of not a crime unless the cop decides you're guilty anyway, in which case they can just give you a ticket.
Well, I mean, that wasn't being enforced anyway.
Yeah, we just need more laws that are easy for them to just enforce when they feel like it, because that gives them more de facto power over you that they shouldn't have. Ban on pink tax, gender-based price discrimination. Forget the fact that it costs substantially more to make pink plastic than blue plastic. In California, you won't be allowed to charge more for it, which just means in some cases you won't offer that product.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Enjoy your blue razors, ladies.
Yeah, it's actually a lot harder and more expensive to make pink plastic than blue.
So
Sorry,
I have
go
a
ahead,
question.
Sarat. Well, hold on. What was Sora saying?
I would rather have a green one.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Serenity?
New yellow for her.
Well, I was like, I wonder how, like...
Good one.
So, is this just... And I know it's not going into detail there.
Yeah.
But it's like, how does that affect Amazon? Because that mean Amazon can't sell pink razors even if they have a different price? Like, or is this only physical stores? Because, like, how do you police Amazon? Because the way things are going, I don't think Amazon's going to have any distribution centers in California the way things are going here in the next few years.
Well, as an Amazon shareholder and a Californian, I appreciate your excellent question. I can tell you've already spent more time thinking about it than the legislature did.
Yeah.
Legislature did.
Well, how do you even enforce that? Like how? Like
it's an excellent question. I'm sure that the courts will enjoy wasting tons and tons of our time and money on that question. I do like this statistic, though. They're claiming that over a woman's lifetime, the pink tax costs her $188,000. God, that's a lot of
bullshit.
Bic razors.
Well, there's also the fact that, like, I'm going to be completely unforgiving to my own gender here. Is it actually her money or is it her husband's money?
Or sugar daddy's money.
Yeah,
DVD.
it's like it's, and also, you know, and I absolutely agree with everything that's always been said, which is you don't have to buy the female specific product. Stop being a lemming.
It's totally different. The blades are totally different.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you in on a little secret. A lot of that extra cost is in the advertising.
Oh, I know. That's the reason why I almost never.
It's a much more competitive market and a larger market for women. Therefore, the cost of advertising is head and shoulders above what typical companies spend on men's products.
Well, it's kind of like a few years ago they had the Bix women's pens, like writing pens, and they were like, "This is so stupid." They still existed for like 6 years afterward because women were still buying them because they liked the colors they were in. Like this, you can make fun of it. That doesn't make it true.
You know, right now I can tell you that Skep and I probably both have the jingle from the Nair commercials going through our heads. Who wears short shorts, Skep?
To reference the beginning of the show, like men are dogs. Like that's it's meant to be demeaning, but we are just very simple creatures that it doesn't take a whole lot. Like here's your razor, razor shave face.
Dogs are awesome.
Well, okay, straight men are dogs.
Dogs are awesome.
Okay, yeah. We're not talking about the outliers like the Metros and the New York socialites.
Well, even the Metros don't pull that shit. But anyway, sorry, Harry, I got in the middle of your law.
No. It's absolutely okay. I was just trying to decide whether I should disclose what razor I use.
Don't do it.
Is it Jeremy's razor?
No, it's way better.
Is it Harry's
It's the single
razor?
use.
No, it's way better. Anyway, let's see.
You can't end with that and then not tell us.
Yeah.
Does
You
he?
use a straight,
Or whatever
you
his
use a straight
name
razor.
Essentially, but not quite. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh Lord.
I did until 30, and then I just said screw it. Just buy an electric razor.
I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of my razor.
Where you take the razor blade out, isn't it?
Hopefully it won't show how much it costs.
See, I don't know if this pink tax thing is maybe an American only thing, because I have never noticed a difference here.
That's my razor.
Oh, there is. When you walk into Shoppers, next time go to like where you have your like leg products, and then go over to the male shaving area, like the foams, the razors. Depending on the razor, like obviously like the newest, greatest Mach 3, Mach 10 Turbo, whatever. That's going to be really.
A women's Gillette foam is the same price as a men's Gillette foam.
Some cases, but it's what they consider the pink tax is the diversity of product for the women's when it comes to the shaving foam, because so when it changes the product, they still consider that shaving cream even if it's a shaving gel. So then they consider it a pink tax because it costs more, even though the product to make it will probably cost a little bit more. They don't actually understand the basics of economics because none of them have an economics background. So it's like it's bullshit, right, left, and center. It's just bullshit. Like there's some stuff that does cost what?
Oh, sorry. It's not just that they don't have an economics background. Most of them have never actually made a product.
Yeah, I know.
They don't understand or run a business. They don't know how much anything costs. They just stand up there and they beat their fists on the pulpit talking about how much things should cost, but they've never made a thing, and most of them have never employed anybody. So they don't know any of this sort of stuff.
I dare to say most of them have never even been a part of that chain, like worked even at the retail counter.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it shows, because it shows they have no understanding of how. Well, it's also the fact that it also shows how easy manipulatable they are where their base is, because their base is incapable, or they feel their base is incapable of going, hey, I don't like how so much this thing costs. Let me just go get another thing that's the same or very similar at a lower cost. No, I won't do that. I just think mommy, daddy, government needs to fix it for me. And it's like, yeah, no.
Are you referencing freer markets?
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus
That's
idea.
racist.
Yeah, but there's more. There's more. Businesses must disclose pay scales when advertising open positions unless it's an exempt position. So all companies with 15 or more employees are now required to provide pay scales in job postings. For companies with more than 100 employees, employers must also include the median and mean hourly rate for each combination of race, ethnicity, and sex within each job category in reports to the state.
Okay,
yeah, there's no way they're going to
with.
use that information against you.
Yeah, that part I have a problem with. The first part where it's just like, just show the range.
Yeah.
That I'm fine with.
How much are
The
you
rest
willing
of
to
it,
pay somebody for this job before you ask people to apply?
Yeah. Now, mind you, I still think that's being a lazy fuck instead of doing your own research and negotiating for a higher pay. But what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of pay scales to begin with, but that's with big companies, it is what it is. California's adding 4 new state holidays.
Oh.
We have April 24th is Genocide Remembrance Day. June 19th.
Wait, what genocide is that?
All of them.
Genocide is that.
Genocide Remembrance Day.
Just in general.
They're going to add Juneteenth is going to be added as a state holiday.
Of course.
Okay,
it is.
September 4th is Native American Day, and the second or third new moon following the winter solstice is as Lunar New Year. So we're going to get 4 new state holidays. Suck it, rest of the country. We get extra holidays.
I feel like we should all be celebrating Genocide Remembrance Day. I don't know. I just feel like that is a good day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We're going to increase our minimum.
By the way, Genocide Remembrance Day is being held so that lots of other victim groups can compare themselves on a similar plane to the Jews.
That's Juden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Whoopi Goldberg would definitely
about.
approve of this move.
Oh my god, they're turning genocide.
By the way, she's not Jewish. Her name is Karen Johnson.
She needs to just
Her
shut
real
the hell
name is
up.
Karen Johnson.
Fuck up. They took Genocide Remembrance Day away from the Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day.
Mhm.
They are now making it a universal instead of the Armenian one because the Armenians haven't been fucked
That's
enough.
right.
That's probably Chunk Yogurt that pushed them to do that one.
was.
But so they also California as the Feather Alert System. I kid you fucking not. The Feather
What
Alert
is
System.
that?
A
What the
new
fuck is
law creates the Feather Alert System, similar to the Amber Alert for Indigenous people who have gone missing under unexplained or suspicious circumstances. Now,
are you shitting?
what is beautiful about this is they haven't over moderated
Do they
the
use smoke signals?
comments. Okay, so people put a bunch of things in the comments. The comments are fantastic.
Wait. So in my prediction now becomes in 2023 they will introduce a dot alert.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Differentiate between anyway.
Yeah. No, that's exactly the thing. Yeah. How about the red dot forehead alert system for when an East Indian goes missing? Do they consider the Eskimo swallowed by a whale system? Of course not.
Oh, fuck you. God damn.
God, I hate my state sometimes.
It's like something you would have heard of in like a Saturday Night Live skit in like the 80s.
This is like a Terry Gilliam thing.
Yeah,
this is like Brazil.
Increasing minimum wage another 50 cents. Your state's already in debt. Stop it.
Yeah. No, this is fine. No, but they're going to have a whole separate. Didn't I mention in a previous episode the whole separate system they're going to have for fast food workers?
No, I wasn't here for that. Like, I made fun with the dogs when that happened. Why?
Skep, do you recall me talking about that?
About what? I'm sorry.
A separate system for compensation for fast food workers and a board that's going to basically legislate what that rate should be.
I wonder if his wife's going to be on it. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, we can talk about that later because you'll love it.
Oh my God. Here,
Yeah, I know.
Oh boy.
Board?
Yeah.
There are amazing people who live in California. Amazingly sweet people. I don't. Sometimes Harry can be in that group. Sometimes not. Depends on his mood.
Usually not.
But,
Usually I'm mostly an asshole, but that's
it's
fine.
one of those things where it's kind of like they really like the more things go on, like you really just like the people in like the political power really want that state to implode. Like they just want it to like just not exist.
We're
anymore.
never going to build utopia with that attitude, Serenity. We
Damn
just
right,
have
we're
to
not.
keep finding ways to make California more and more perfect until ultimately it's just finished. It's going to be great. So I wanted to ask people
Sorry, I have one last rant. I have one.
Oh, please
last
go
rant.
ahead. Go ahead.
Why is a state that wasn't even around during slavery celebrating Juneteenth?
I don't know reasons because
it's
probably
like
because we're
reparations.
more moral than you are.
Apparently, because it's like reparations.
right.
Why are you
Yeah,
giving
it was-
reparations? You never had slaves.
Technically,
'Cause-
California was in the Union.
Because
I know.
we're so rich with our tech money that we can afford reparations. We're really just doing it to show off.
Yes, because none of those tech companies are leaving.
No,
Not at all.
no.
This is just the worst kind of transfer.
I love the feather alert system though. That is just
God, that is
so good.
That's
I bet
so
you.
racist.
I bet
beyond
you someone
irony.
felt so proud of themselves
I know.
for that.
Yeah.
Like they felt like they won the year. And
And the thing
you know,
that's going to be hilarious is that it's going to come out that it's someone who claims to be part Native American.
Of course it will be.
It always is. They're always part.
Oh.
And but I came up with it. I'm part intersuch. And it's like,
it's-
then you have no right to tell anyone anything's racist because you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Okay. So, Skep,
Yep.
do you have any predictions for the coming year?
Predict that inflation is not done with us. We have,
Oh God, no.
we have had the first round. We will have another round, which will be almost as bad as this first one, and we'll think that we're done. And then we'll have the big round that will revalue our currency. And I expect both of those two rounds of inflation to happen inside of 18 months from now.
Yeah, you know what sucks about that, Skep, is that at a certain point, if you don't buy your wheelbarrow on time, you won't be able to carry enough money to the wheelbarrow store with your wheelbarrow to buy a new wheelbarrow.
Exactly. It's the wheelbarrow problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Post World War II Germany.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Women are going to look at me and go, man, that guy, he looks like he's got it going on. That's a nice looking wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to impress people. I don't live in a refrigerator box and I've got a nice wheelbarrow. Okay. What about you?
I bought Brenda a double throwdown wheelbarrow for us to use out back, and it was one of the most romantic gifts I ever gave her.
Any wheelbarrow that doesn't have an inflated tire is not worth its time. It's just like
Word.
it's solid. It never needs to be inflated. You're stupid. It's plastic and it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
It will never help you, and it will break.
Yeah. I may not be country, but I know my way around a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Good man.
Well, I mean, little country tip is that they make this goo for bicycle tires. It's green.
Slime. Yeah.
The slime stuff, and you put it in the wheelbarrow tire.
Mhm.
So this way, if it does get a puncture, it auto seals. This way, you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, slime is good stuff unless you're the guy at the tire shop who has to change the tire.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
Well, I'm not taking the wheelbarrow to a tire
I
shop.
have been
Yeah,
guy
exactly.
with one of those machines. One of those
Yeah.
pneumatic
Just
machines.
changing the tire.
You know, did I ever tell you, Skep, I was on my motorcycle once and I got a flat tire on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was unpleasant. I had to pull. I was basically on Highway 280, which is a pretty big interstate. Okay, and a lot of traffic, 75, 80 miles an hour. And I was on the left-hand side, and I was basically stuck on the center divide trying to patch and inflate that tire
Holy crap.
while trying to not get killed looking at the oncoming traffic. Do you know how hard it is to keep one eye on traffic, one eye on...
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah, I've changed tires by the side of the road. I know what
I didn't have to change the tire. I actually keep the little a kit with the mushroom plugs. So you
So
put the thing on the center stand and then move the wheel, find it, pull the thing out, use the rasp thing, make it bigger, mushroom plug, reinflate, profit.
You get away with the plug on bikes, at least for a while. On cars, not so much.
No, the plug, the purpose of the plug is to get you to the store where you can get a new tire.
That's your spare tire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, spare tires on motorcycles. Unless you're touring, you just generally don't do that. But yeah, I guess it's one of those rite of passage things, right?
It's,
you know, if you're on two wheels, this is just a thing that's going to happen to you eventually.
It absolutely would.
You better handle it like an adult.
There are two things that are going to happen to you on a motorbike. You're going to wreck, and you're going to have a flat tire. Those things will happen to you on a motorbike.
Well, there are people that don't have them happen, but they're pretty darn rare.
I'm actually a person who has never wrecked a bike, not once.
I've never wrecked or dropped a bike. I've got over 100,000 miles in, and I've never even dropped a bike.
A lot more than I have.
Yeah,
maybe 1,000.
I think I'm just stubborn. Anyway, enough about me. Anybody else have any predictions? Sora, what about you? Did we lose Sora? Oh, see, we've lost Serenity. We've lost Sora.
Dead, Jim.
Okay. Functional. Do you have any predictions for your part of the world or other parts?
Well, I predict that Trudeau's eventually going to get his ass kicked out of office. And I also predict that Elon Musk will not be sad and not Epstein himself. And I'm going to predict that I'm not going to remember what I'm going to be saying in the next 5 minutes.
Hey, Happy New Year, Skep.
Oh, yes.
Happy New Year Central Time Zone. Good job.
Yeah. All right. There are a lot of people would have bet you at different points in my life that I would have not made it to this day. But here we are.
And here we are.
And I can go tour their graves. That's the pleasure of being old, outliving your enemies.
Okay, so I have another thing here, but I cannot talk about this without Serenity here. So let's just rearrange things just a little bit. Okay, because it's a thing about Gen Z, and it's going to be... I know Serenity's going to have some good comments on this story. Yeah, okay, let's see. Can we talk about this without them? Sure we can. Okay, shut up, Guardian.
Yeah, Apple AirTag.
Apple AirTags. I didn't want it anywhere near me. How the Apple AirTag became a gift to stalkers. Because in a lot of ways, this is just another one of those technology advances, women most affected type articles. AirTags are actually a lot better thought out than this. But anyway, they're telling these stories about people who had AirTags put on their cars, for instance, like break up with their ex, the ex takes their kids to the, as part of some separation thing, and then puts an AirTag to find out where the woman's living, that kind of story. And there's a bunch of these where the people just say the AirTag was used to violate my freedom. And Apple has tons and tons of cash, so they make a nice, big, fat, juicy target for lawsuits. So, of course, lots of people are piling on trying to go after Apple because apparently technology and the way people use it is bad, and we should just stop things like AirTags. That's what these people would have you believe. As a person who loses things fairly frequently, you'd think I would be the target audience for AirTags, but I think it's the same gene that makes me not want to stop and ask for directions that refuses to let me put AirTags on anything. I saw a video recently, one of those law enforcement body cam video type things where this guy got his backpack stolen and he used the AirTag that was in his backpack to basically locate it to this one house. And the police went in and got his stuff back. not without some woman rolling up and trying to go almost full sovereign citizen on them, and then she got arrested too. That was pretty glorious, but that's beside the point. There are people who seem to think that it's that there's some sort of legal implications about the law going in and not viewing it as like an exigent circumstance rather than having to get a search warrant based on this sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty big civil rights person, but if you go around stealing things from people and you've got, a trash can outside your house is full of empty wallets and purses, and, there's an AirTag from somebody's stolen thing pinging on the inside of your house. The person's outside the house with their phone, standing with the police saying, yeah, my backpack's in there. Can you get it? I think they should be able to go in and get it. Yeah.
You'll get a warrant for that. You'll get a warrant for that. Easily.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really. Sorry, go ahead.
No judge in the world did not, with the preponderance of evidence like that. Yeah, he's going to say, yeah, go and search that place.
Well, the people at Apple, I know this is going to come as a shock to you. They may do a lot of dumb things, but they're not idiots. And they've actually created a system where if there's an AirTag that doesn't belong to you near you, it will alert you. So if somebody just plants it.
I've had that happen before.
Somebody
It was
plants
creepy.
it on you, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
So somebody planted an AirTag on you, or it was just an accident, or you were just
No, we were
standing
just
near one?
I'm in a crowd of people.
Yeah.
And the alert popped up, and I instantly I started panicking like someone actually stuck a AirTag on me, but no.
Yeah.
I walked like a few meters away, like and around the corner, and it disappeared.
Well, not only does it let you get the information, but it also lets you track it in, I guess, like find location mode. So instead of giving you the rough location, it lets you find like the nearly exact location relative to your phone.
So is this like some kind of fancy telescope or something?
It's like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of cool, though. You've got this cheap little piece of
what is it?
technology. Sorry, what? I mean, what does the
I
AirTag
have no
do?
idea what we're talking about, AirTag.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a little tag that essentially works with the phones, right? So
The
essentially,
little circular disc thing, functional.
Okay.
yeah, it's like a
Sends out
little
its
near-field
location.
communication tag, and essentially it will talk to any iPhone or Apple device that gets near it and report the location back. So instead of needing its own cellular modem and GPS,
I get
and
it
all this
now
other
because like
stuff,
when she said like you thought somebody slipped one on you, I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
like is this like some kind of like colloquialism for like some data that somebody like slipped into your phone? Now I get it. It's actually like a physical tracker.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
Yeah.
but a lot more
what
complex
some
than just a tracker.
people have done, or there was articles about people basically you put it in. You follow a woman, you see where like the car she gets into or gets out of. You put the tag in and around the car, like under the like you slip it
under
in
the
a vent
bumper.
or something, or
Yeah.
bumper, or in the spare tire, something like that, and you can track them. So it's a way of having sex trafficking, but work smarter, not harder, kind of
Yep.
thing, because you follow them home.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't like
that.
So, well, not only is there the problem with the current the current implementation of the AirTags alerts people if there's a foreign AirTag kind of clinging to them or their car, but also that AirTag, if you find something like that that's implanted on you, you can give it to law enforcement and they can track that back to the actual person.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cheap and yeah, it's efficient, but it's like a really good way to find yourself in jail. Which doesn't mean that there aren't possible issues with this. Like, for instance, if you were, I don't want to tell people how to break the law. Never mind.
Yeah, shut up, Harry.
Let's not do that.
Just wind that back before that that ends up happening. But there are
Future is
concerns with people who are following. In LA, there's been a big problem with gangs of thieves following people home.
Yeah.
So you imagine you could put like one of these. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I don't care. You could put one of these AirTags like in the fancy parking lot near an expensive restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And then put it like on the bumper, follow somebody home, remove the AirTag, and then, rob them or whatever. They use it as a way of basically finding victims and tracking them.
Yep.
But I don't really think we should get rid of this technology because of that, because it's not the technology's fault that some people are going to misuse it.
Yeah.
Much by the same sense that I wouldn't put the gun manufacturers out of business.
Well, it's once again, it's the whole fact of like, it's a neutral thing. What it gets used for by bad actors isn't the thing's fault. Well, it's like, because I know some people, and I'm sure Sora's seen the same videos I have, of people who, because of the fact that airports are losing so much luggage, people now use air tags to track their luggage so they can tell the fucking airport where their shit is. Because statistically speaking, someone nearby is going to have an iPhone. Unless it's
probably working for the Biden administration has got your luggage.
Yeah.
That trans guy with the bald head.
Ugh.
Sorry.
But it's one of those things like
Gaiman.
Yeah. What a fitting name. Anyway, but people have been using that to find their luggage. This way, they're not having to wait months. They can go, no, I see where it is. Just this is where it is, and the airlines are going, all right, cool.
Yeah, we just need to give the tools to law enforcement and the prosecutors to be able to act upon the bad actors as opposed to going after the technology itself.
Yeah, and the thing is like I like the fact that Apple does that, where it'll tell you like, hey, there's a weird thing right near you. You may want to tell it not to track you. I feel bad for the Android users because they won't get that pop up, so they can be tracked and they don't know it. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like that kind of sucks. I wish there was a way to make that like the AirTags at least acknowledge anything, but that would mean Android and Apple would have to get along, and they're never going to fucking do that.
Not necessarily. Just give me a good idea.
Well, it's like, or have an app, like have a for free app that can somehow track the AirTags if you have an Android device. This way it can tell you, oh, there's an AirTag right nearby you. It's on your car.
Yeah, I think I actually know how to do this now that I think about it. It wouldn't be that hard.
We just have to
would
detect
assume it's
the
not,
frequency, right?
Well, it's just an NFC device. It's really not that complicated.
And most Android phones have NFC built into them. Apple and Sony are slowly getting rid of NFC, but they changed their mind. Apple did when they started doing the AirTags, but I know Sony's slowly getting rid of NFC.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. There was a thing I was going to talk about. I needed at least you, and we got you and Sora back. Okay, so we're going to talk about Gen Z. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So, call declined. Why Gen Z won't pick up the phone?
We're millennials. We do the same thing. What the fuck?
I don't pick up the phone. Are you kidding me? I don't know who's calling me.
Well, I pick up with family calls. That's
and millennials.
I think the last time that was not a thing was like in the 90s.
Well, it's reached the point where there's this woman now going around telling people, like actually teaching people Gen Zs how to use the phone so that they can function in business now. Because they grow up doing nothing but text messaging and sending emojis and stuff to each other. So a lot of Gen Zs apparently just don't even know how to function with a phone anymore.
It's almost like human to human contact during the formative years is very, very important.
Yeah.
Well, it's like also
who knew
there was
right.
This was going around a couple years ago, but there was this whole thing of people weren't calling to make doctor's appointments not because of how much air quotes it cost, because I don't know what to say to the nurse. It's like, and someone actually wrote out a transcript and they were like, oh, this helps my anxiety so much. I'm like, how the fuck do you function anywhere? Like,
Serenity,
I'm beginning to think
I had to write.
Oh, I'm sure.
I had to write a script for our very short-lived dummy worker. At literally word for word how she was supposed to start a call, schedule an appointment, leave a voicemail. I actually spelt out, like when we had, when you say your email, you spell it out to make slowly and clearly. And if there's certain letters that you want to, say, like, I don't know, like S as in Sam, .ca, that kind of stuff, right? So I had to write that out. And because the only way this person could talk on the phone was if she had the script in her hand and verbatim word line by line.
Yeah. It's like
I
It's
know.
one of-
No, you're in despair. It's like pure
Yeah.
agony watching this person, and this is, and I don't think this was a unique situation.
well, it's part of the
Obviously
reason
not.
why I at least recently in the last few months I am very I do not trust the unreliable narrator when they show the videos of the Karens. Like, I know there's Karens out there, I have no doubt, but considering how stupid some of the mid-millennials and younger are, I can't say I wouldn't be the same way and lose my shit if you do something stupid. I could, like, if I've had to deal with everybody that day who's just dumber than a bag of rocks, I have anxiety. I can't call the doctor. You don't have anxiety. You're nervous. Welcome to being human. You have two choices: get over it or don't. Like, I'm sorry that, like, you don't know how to answer when the nurse goes or the receptionist goes, "Okay, what's your name?" Like, if you don't even know how to answer that, like, you're like, do not sit here and tell me anything about how to live my life. Do not tell me I'm a bad person for doing X, Y, or Z. If you can't even make a fucking dentist or doctor's appointment, you have no right to tell me shit. And I say that every time.
Yeah.
Can I just also point out how hilarious that behind that woman, the trainer, it looks like the foam mats you have in preschool.
Yeah, I know.
Andy Warhol inspired phone painting.
Yeah, it's a phone painting on the wall. She looks like a kindergarten teacher.
Well, look at her age though, because I mean, legitimately, the Gen Z people could just be okay, boomer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Even though she's probably Gen X, it's probably what she is. Because I've noticed a lot of Gen Zs don't know the difference between Gen X and Boomer, and they call Gen Xers Boomers, and I'm like, no, baby. there's some Gen Xers you're talking.
Well, my boomer radar is going boomer on her.
She
But,
looks a bit
okay.
boomerish. Maybe
Yeah.
a young boomer.
But still, like, more power to her getting paid, man.
Yeah, 400. What was it? What did I come up with? It was
$480.
It had a
$80 an
breakdown.
hour.
Yeah, it's like 480
Nice.
for one-on-one coaching, 365 for 30-minute webinars, and 3,500 a day for corporate workshops.
Yeah.
She's getting paid.
Oh, but she does have one-on-one coaching. See, that's what I'm talking about. But I want ballroom dancing, not ballroom dancing and more martial arts, not that.
1,500 people.
Yeah,
I think someone's asleep.
possibly. We'll see. I'll mute if I have to.
Like, I don't like talking on the phone, but that's just because I'm a misanthrope. I don't understand the crippling anxiety of talking.
I have an easier time getting stuff done from getting companies to help me with stuff to get stuff done when talking to someone over the phone than I do on chat.
On their stupid, I hate that.
So there was a good thing that happened. This is actually under things that make me happy. Come on, load Buffalo News. Kenmore mechanic heralded for saving lives by breaking into school during blizzard. So this guy here in the middle, that guy, was basically driving. He's near Buffalo, New York, and he was driving to go help a friend because of the snowstorm sucked, and the
we
friend
got
needed
hit
help.
Hard.
And he got basically just stuck on the freeway or on the road. Couldn't go anywhere. Was running out of gas. He knocked on about a dozen doors and said, "Hey, can I come in your house rather than dying out here in the cold?" And people said, "No, we don't trust you. Go away." He even offered them money, but nobody would let him in. So he ended up breaking into a nearby school, and not only did he, help himself, but he went out and gathered other people that were stuck on the road who were in the same situation, took care of them, then went into the locker for the groundskeeper for the school, got the the snowblower equipment, and cleared the road so that the people could get out the next morning.
Nice.
Yeah, and he left a little note for the police basically saying, "I'm sorry I broke into your school." and broke your window and did all this stuff. And the police, to their credit, are kind of like, "Yeah, that's okay, dude. You did what you had to do. You're actually a pretty good guy."
Some heroes wear snow pants.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and he's just a guy who just fixes Kenmore appliances, and he was trying to be a good guy. And
what if he saved one of those people's lives?
Guaranteed he did.
He easily could have saved one or more of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fairly older people there that I can assure you they would not survive that blizzard in their cars.
Yeah. And that crusty
Eventually,
white
they'd
dot
run
on
out
the
of
right.
gas or whatever, and they'd run out of heat, and they would just freeze to death. That's
Yep.
fucking. He's a hero.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
look at
he
he
did.
even saved 2 dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did what needed to be done.
Yeah.
The tiny little blonde dog would have gone. The German Shepherd probably would have been fine, but that is not enough fur to keep that dog warm in that kind of temperature. No.
Yeah. 27-year-old Kenmore mechanic is being lauded as a hero for saving at least 10 and as many as 24 lives during the height of the weekend blizzard.
Yeah, y'all got hit harder than we did. We only got like 1/10 of an inch of snow, and it got really, really cold.
That's
reason
because
was we were on
it's,
the edge of the-
it's lake effect snow.
Oh, I know.
So,
And we
sorry,
were on the
functional.
edge
That's
of-
what you were going to say, right?
That, and we were on the and we were on the edge of the polar vortex, and so that's the hardest hit. And in combination with the freestanding lakes and all the rivers converging, it's just we sometimes every few years just get really, really hit hard out of nowhere, and then it goes away, and then we get a normal winter. And it's brutal when you see some of the stuff that people get caught out in it all the time, and it's brutal when you see the papers the next day. You know, you see a lot of really sad stories. Let's put it that way. So with this guy, there's no doubt in my mind this guy saved some lives.
And which brings me to be the prepper. So
Mhm.
go with me. Always, I'm saying this for everyone in chat. If you drive your own vehicle because you have the capability of having this in your car, have a bug out bag that has heat packs in it, has the ability to have like a reflective, the little thin reflective blanket,
Non-perishables.
has
water.
like a spare. Well, the water can be a little iffy, but at least have the capability of having water with you at all times. Like spare change of clothes.
Well, I used to carry a case of water in my trunk all the time,
Same.
like no matter what. Like
Tactical shovels are amazing.
a bag of kitty. I'm not joking. A bag of
kitty litter. Yeah.
Well,
Like
it depends
that kind
on your circumstance. If you're going to be driving into cold weather, you carry a slightly different kit than you would if you were geodes, for instance. So cold weather, especially if you're going outside of the city, cold weather, people still die from stuff like that. They'll park off to the side of the road if they're broken down, and nobody will get to them, or their vehicle will be covered in snow. Nobody can see them. You know, that's a good way to just end up dead. But simple precautions like a little homemade alcohol stove, knowing how to generate heat without asphyxiating in the car, like you said, food, water, space blankets, all of that kind of equipment is massively important. So you need to have a kit that works with the circumstances that you're going into. And you can't just leave it in the car, because I did that. And of course, the idiots broke into my car, busted my window, and stole all my bug out stuff. So now it's whatever I can schlep. You know, I basically, if it isn't EDC stuff, I almost don't mess with it.
Well, it's like oops, sorry. Go ahead, functional.
I was just quickly going to say, like, for the most part, it just needs to keep you alive long enough for somebody to find you in most areas. Obviously, if you're in a more populated area like a city, you just need to like survive the night. And if you've got special health concerns, you know, everything already is hard enough in your life, but traveling when you've got those kinds of concerns is even harder.
Yeah. Well, it's like my 12-year-old little cousin calls because his parents, because they live even further out in the boonies than I do, they call it, he calls his little thing that they taught him to make his zombie apocalypse bag. His Zab, he calls it a Zab. And but it's one of those things where it's kind of like, with more rural areas, space blanket, always carry water with you anyway, just in case, because you never know. Always carry food. We also we have usually sterno. I have it's an actual military surplus, because there's a military surplus in the small town I live near. That's an old military backpack, and I just shove everything in there. And around here, once again, we have if you want to come up my driveway and try to get in my car, you're welcome to. I don't make any promises, but it's one of those so I don't usually have to worry about that kind of stuff. But it's one of those. It's don't travel in any terrible weather unless you absolutely have to. But if you're going to, make sure you have at least close to the proper stuff, and don't leave if you're in snow, don't leave your car on. especially if the snow is still gathering, because it will cover your tailpipe and then you will asphyxiate. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I understand it. And you want to. I get it. I understand entirely. Don't.
No,
Just
you
get
can
a
run it for
snorkel.
a bit.
Get a snorkel like the Humvees. But if you're in California, the requirements are different. You know, a lot of times in California, what you want is a get home bag.
Yeah.
You don't want a bug out bag. You want a get home bag, because the roads may be impassable, and a good pair of shoes and a hat and some sunscreen
And a
are
compass.
sometimes a lot more important than anything else.
Yeah, I have a waterproof map in my back and mine, and then I have a compass and I have flashlight. And stuff like that.
Anytime you get in a car, you should be ready to walk to help.
Yep.
Be able to walk to help. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing.
Or if you're fabulous, a rollerblade, I guess. I don't know.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even dance. So, I know you.
Either. My attempts at dancing are described variously as like a cow on ice skates.
Yeah.
I have a friend who has a sculpture of an ice skating camel. It's pretty entertaining. This is not the story I was talking about. This is the lead into the story I was talking about. You probably heard in the news about some big milestone in fusion research, right? Because they did something that never been done, and they got more power. Yeah, they got more power out than they put in. Of course, they had to use like one of the biggest lasers in the world, and a huge team of people. You mean to run the lasers?
Yeah.
Okay, so Skep, in this particular analysis, what they were looking at was the amount of power in the lasers relative to the power that came out of the little pellet of tritium fuel that was compressed down and then released all this energy.
Right.
What they don't include in that calculation is the amount of waste power in the lasers. So it's not the power going into the laser, it's the power the laser is sending to the pellet.
But if the lasers are necessary to it, they are part of the system, and as a system's analysis problem, you've got to factor that in.
Well, to make this into something that's commercially viable, you really need to be getting not unity, but you really need to be getting like 10 or 20 times the amount of power coming out as you're putting in to make it into something where our future is going to be, using these type of things. So I heard this and I'm just kind of like, okay, this is like when people tell me there's a new battery technology, I'll believe it when I see it actually working. I can't get super worked up about this stuff, but this next thing is super fucking cool. Let me introduce to you a company called Helion.
I knew
Energy.
you were gonna go here.
Okay, so you heard about this.
I've just heard about it. I don't know that much about it.
Okay, so rather than using a bunch of lasers to try to take a pellet of exotic fuel and compress it down, Helion solves two separate problems. They essentially have one type of reactor that they've made that takes deuterium in seawater, which is abundant, and makes the fuel that they need. Because the reactor that they were talking about in the previous story, when they run the big version of that in Europe, at the big European International Fusion thing, I can't remember what it's called, ITER, I think it's called, they only have enough worldwide supply of the fuel for that thing to just run for a few years just for that one reactor. You're not going to solve the world's power problems with this. But this technology, not only can they synthesize their own fuel economically, but they've actually simplified the process considerably. Let me see if I can find this stupid thing. So what they do is they have this thing, which is the plasma accelerator. And on the left side, it's basically two mirrored systems. It creates a blob of plasma, which is basically the fuel that you would get. And it takes them, forms them into a nice controlled little torus, and then accelerates them from either side. And they meet in the center of this thing. Now, the way in which these things are smashed into each other, it's not a pure chaos type of thing, because they're carefully matched in terms of the configuration and the shape of the beam. That kinetic energy gets turned almost completely and instantaneously into heat and pressure.
Yep.
And there's a magnetic field that holds all this in away from the walls, like with a tokamak. The pressure of this ball as fusion takes place, pushing against that magnetic field, creates a fluctuation in the magnetic field. And a fluctuating magnetic field can be used to make power directly.
How strong is this field?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but the point is, instead of having to, well, it's the same kind of strength as you'd be looking at in a tokamak and other types of reactors. But the main thing is that with other reactors, you have to generate heat to transfer that heat energy into a coolant to create steam to drive a turbine to make power. This reactor design creates power directly with no interstitial steps.
That is just so amazing.
So not only does it make its own fuel, but it actually can make the power directly without the interstitial stuff that goes on.
This chemist very happy.
So here it is forming the big plug of ions on one side. And remember, it's matched on the other side. Then it goes through an acceleration phase. And one of the things that they've done with their technology is create high power capacitors that discharge at the right rates of speed to make all this sort of work.
Yep.
And so then this thing goes through, it goes into a reaction chamber, and all of that kinetic energy gets turned into pressure and thermal energy. It gets compressed, from the collision. This is when the fusion takes place. And then that's all good, right? So, so they're fusing deuterium and helium-3.
Nice.
Yep. And
nice.
then that
According
creates...
to them, Skep, it's 10 Teslas.
Which is a lot.
They've confined them in magnetic fields over 10 Tesla.
That is so gigantic.
That's incredible.
But they only have to do it. They only have to do it sort of instantaneously. Now they can do one of these pulses, and so they're doing an iterative process. They're on the 5th generation of these things right now, and they've learned a lot from each different thing. Like one thing they've learned is that the vessel needs to be 25% bigger than they thought it was going to be, because there's just a little more slop going on with the ion soup that comes out that kind of erodes the containment vessel. So they're making the containment vessel 25% bigger in the 6th generation machine that they're building. And the point of the 6th generation machine is just to prove that they can actually create these pulses with more and more frequency than they did before. Yep. Everything here is actually kind of sort of working already, but you can see the electricity recapture. As the plasma expands, it pushes back on the magnetic field. By Faraday's law, the change in field induces current, which is directly recaptured as electricity. This clean fusion electricity is used to power homes, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
This is super cool. I have to say that I'm impressed on this with this in so many different levels. I should put the link in the chat, right?
Has Thunder debunked it yet?
Yeah. Good job, Thunder Chunk or Thunder Chump.
Solar freaking roadways.
Yeah, solar freaking roads. I think this is a pretty cool one because you may notice that I don't talk about fusion very much. Because most of it I really just don't find to be that interesting.
This is all theoretical.
Well, it's so incremental and it's little tiny design changes and people overreacting to everything. And it's been that way since 1959, I believe, was the first time someone announced to me that fusion was the fuel of the future. And I thought, by 1962, 63, it'd be here. Ha ha ha! My youth.
I'm just happy for anything that isn't bullshit. So that's what I'm going to do.
This is actually pretty real. They've got prototypes that work and do things, and these people are in it to make money. This isn't some sort of government. This isn't some sort of government boondoggle thing. I mean, these people are serious.
Yeah. Well, that was the question I was going to ask because I was trying not to be an asshole, but at the same time I was like, "Are we sure this isn't like Theranos 2.0?"
No. This is like a real thing. They're finally starting to bring people in to take a look at the machine.
Yay!
The 5th generation machine. So outsiders are getting a look at this. I think that the near future is still going to be fission, like Gen 3, Gen 4, and I think the thorium cycle is going to be a big deal. But ultimately, something like this to me looks a lot more promising than the ITER thing, because you can't convince me that an incredibly complicated piece of machinery like that is
The
going to be
very
cost
limited
efficient.
fuel source.
Yeah, with a very limited fuel source. They've solved the fuel problem. They just make their own.
Yeah.
It does take about 10 years to actually make it, because what they're actually, okay, I can't get into all of this right now just because of lack of time, but what they actually do is I can't remember what they're making, whether it's lithium, and then it takes about 10 years for it to decay into the tritium that they need for the reactor. So it's a long process where you would have a separate facility with a similar reactor to this one that basically creates the precursor, and then they capture from the decay of the thing they create the fuel that they need for the other reactor to generate the power. But this creates a whole ecosystem that's actually sustainable. There's enough for millions of years of power. This isn't like a next 150 stopgap kind of thing. Like literally we could power our civilization for millions of years off this technology if it works.
Well, I mean, couldn't it be used as a recycling capability for the old lithium batteries that are slowly just not being as efficient as they are? Couldn't it also be used for that as a recycling process?
I don't think so. It's the
you said
wrong
it was
flavor of lithium, and I may be wrong about that. I read all this stuff before thing. I read this all early in the week, so I've already started forgetting some of the key details. Yeah. That's why Skep's like, how strong is the magnetic field? I don't remember. It's Schempp, Tesla.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it would be nice that if we had a full like end of life cycle for all of the lithium stuff we're digging out of the ground and make, well, not lithium, but you know what I mean. It's like it would just be nice if that's this way. Those batteries, when they are no longer useful in cars or in power walls, but still have some juice to them, they could be used in another form to make more power. This way we get more stuff out of them instead of just trying to figure out where to throw them when they're in the trash. That's the reason I was asking, because I was like,
the thing I like about this is it isn't like a big experiment. It's like we're building something that could actually do something for real.
Yeah, it's just figuring out the efficiency and how big to make it and so on and so forth.
Well, and it is an experiment, and they are figuring things out. But this isn't so much research as it is development. Whereas the stuff that they're doing at ITER and at Lawrence Livermore is at the National Ignition Facility is really research.
Yeah.
And research is always going to be like a long way away from producing anything that you're actually going to use.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
so if we want to get this working, you know, while Skep's still around to appreciate it, we need more of this. Is honestly the thing. Because I'm sorry, Skep, but you probably don't have another 100 years in you.
You never know.
You never know. Stem cells. We'll get you hooked up.
He'll outlive us all.
Yeah.
Well, this has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday, New Year's
Thank
Eve.
you for ending on a happy note.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome.
And
to
that was a lovely segue.
A frisky end to a bad year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. Well, I mean, I have other stuff, but we don't need to talk about it. We've done our 2 hours. We've done our time. I think we're gonna end the stream. We're gonna thank everybody, and we'll just look forward to next year. I think next year is going to be a lot better. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that next year is going to be at least halfway awesome.
Yeah,
I hope that you're right. I am concerned, of course, like everybody else is. You know, there are a lot of there's just so many things facing us. So many bad things facing us. I am just I'm worried about the United States and where we're going. I really, truly am.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, just as a favor to everybody, since I can't play it because we will get copy struck, I'm going to give you a link to something to listen to when the show's over. This is a little bit of Shelley Berman, and it's a sketch called The Morning After, where he describes his experience the next day on the phone, finding out about what he did when he got far, far, far too loaded. So with that, the zoo is closed. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Be safe.
Happy New Year.
Don't be stupid. Well, more